If you're a follower of our podcast, chances are you're a parent juggling childcare with your business baby. Time is a luxury you can't afford to waste. Some days you feel like a super mom or dad, and other days your plans go right out the window and you're scrambling to write an Instagram post with one hand and cooking dinner with the other while your kids are screaming wildly in the background. This is one of the many reasons why we at Mad Marketing Moms are such strong believers in repurposing content. Whether you're a solopreneur or run a small team, repurposing your content is the best time-saving strategy to help you show up and post consistently, even when your day gets away from you. For today's episode, we have invited the king of repurposing, Hani Mourra, the CEO of Repurpose.io, to talk about what I like to call the Henry Cavill of content platforms. Stay tuned to hear all about this incredible tool and how you can use it to maximize the value of your existing content, especially your video content. Sorry, Hani, what's the proper way to pronounce your name? That was the one question I forgot to ask.
It's Hani.
Hani. Hani. Okay.
Give me some more.
Hani Mourra is a softwarepreneur who has been in the entrepreneur game for over 14 years. He started blogging about video marketing in 2009 and became a video marketing coach at Clarity, built several content automation plugins for WordPress, which eventually led his users to asking, why can't I post my video once and have it distributed to all the social media platforms? And that's where the idea of Repurpose.io came to be. Since its creation in 2016, Repurpose.io is now used by over 100,000 creators, marketers, and brands. It's been featured in Digital Information World, Mashable, and Stuff magazine. Hani, welcome to the Mad Marketing Podcast. Welcome to Mad Marketing Moms. I'm so excited to talk to you, and obviously the jitters are getting to me just a little bit.
Well, thanks for having me here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Hani.
I'm a big software geek. Actually, more important, I'm a big video geek myself. So ever since I was a child, I've always loved making videos. I was the one that would take all the footage, put it together, kind of stitch all the clips together, and then sit down as a family and we all watch kind of the family vacations. I've always been a video nerd, geek, whatever you want to call it. I loved it. I always loved video. And then, I studied software engineering. And so I don't know, I started blogging about video in 2009. I loved the idea of teaching. And then one day it just hit me. I'm like, I got to use my tools, my software skills to build something for video, like some kind of video tool. I didn't know what it was, but I was already excited. And I think it was a couple of years later, I built my first WordPress plugin that took all your YouTube videos and put them onto WordPress. And that was kind of the start of all this automation. And I guess repurposing, I didn't call it repurposing. I didn't look at it as repurposing. I hated the fact that I had to manually put videos on my blog because I was blogging a lot. So yeah, that was the beginning of it. It just started as me trying to solve my own problem of hating the fact that I had to copy YouTube embed code and paste it on my blog and do that almost, a couple of times a week when I was doing a lot of videos.
Quite often these inventions come about from some kind of pain point or struggle that you have. I would love to know a little bit more about Repurpose.io. And like you said, it started out as a way to repurpose video from YouTube, but what does it look like now? How has it evolved?
Yeah, so right now, what it started when Repurpose was first born, it was actually a tool for audio creators. Take audio content, turn them into videos, because 6 years ago, that was not easy to do, to take a video. You can't post audio on social media, so you couldn't paste audio clips. So that was actually the first feature of Repurpose, like the actual product Repurpose. And then it quickly evolved into, okay, how do I take my Facebook Live was the big thing back then. How do I take my Facebook Live? How do I put them on YouTube? I hate downloading them and uploading them. So we built that feature. And then evolved into, I have long YouTube videos. I want to make little clips that are vertical and share them in social media. So it's an evolution. And now it's, okay, I can just post my content to TikTok or Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. And then I can have it set up so it automatically grabs it from there and pushes it out to everywhere else. So we've been very fluid in a sense that we're just listening to what creators, and even the creation space has changed a lot from audio was a big focus to obviously longer YouTube videos and video interviews to now short form content being king.
I love that you say that the number one driver, and by the sounds of it, almost sometimes in a way, the only driver for repurpose.io to evolve is what your users want. Like there's
Yeah.
so many companies out there that they just go, oh, we think that this product's going to work, or we're going to go and force it down someone's throat. But you guys are just creating features and such because you're getting asked for them. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a blessing. Honestly, it's a blessing. I mean, I had a vision of Repurpose when it, launched like 5-6 years ago, and it was nothing. I would say nothing. It wasn't. I never imagined it will be this tool that it is today. I'm excited that it is this tool, and it all comes from, like I said, users and creators and companies, solopreneur, whoever is using our software is telling us, "Hey, I wish I could automate this." And then I'm like, oh, let me listen to that. Let me see if that's technically possible. So it's been fun. And we're blessed that way, that we have very amazing user base who's giving us feedback. And we have actually a feedback tool in the app. So you can request a feature. And then more importantly, you can upvote features that, you request or someone else has requested.
Yeah, you do have a system. I've put in a couple of feature requests in there, and I can see there's a voting system as well that determines whether you guys are really going to explore that. And then that gets implemented into your roadmap. So you guys are completely transparent as to how the company is being driven in a way in terms of the products that you guys are producing. I think that's brilliant. To putting on your video marketing expertise hat for a minute, what do you see as, I guess, the biggest setback for business owners when it comes to video marketing?
I think people are intimidated. A lot of people are intimidated to firing up the camera and just being on camera. And I think with short form video, it became easier, but at the same time, it's like, oh, what do I say in 30 seconds or 60 seconds? So it became almost harder, easier because, you just need a phone, just fire up your phone and go. But then what do I talk about? What message can I deliver in like 30 seconds? So I think just the first obstacle is getting in front of that camera. So if you're afraid of that camera or you're not comfortable speaking in front of the camera, you just kind of have to get over it. And I don't mean that in a I'm not putting anybody down. You got to just practice to get better at it. But the reality is, the more real it is, the more like mistakes you make, not intentional mistakes, but if you fumble, it's okay. Like, it's not meant to be Hollywood style. It's meant to be just you delivering value to your audience. And if you keep that in mind, you become less nervous about how I look, or, oh, I stuttered here, or I stumbled here. It's okay. You can edit some things out, but just try to keep it real and just focus on delivering kind of one message, one piece of content, something of value to your audience.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And this is the thing. Keep it simple. One idea per short video, if that's what you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
And as I always like to say to my students, action creates confidence. It doesn't happen the other way around. You don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to make a video feeling really confident about this. It's through taking that imperfect action consistently that you actually get better. And like you say, Hani, your audience is pretty forgiving. They're not going to mind, if you make a mistake here or there, because you're not a Hollywood actor being paid millions and millions of dollars to show up. You're just a business owner or a content creator or whatever it is that you're doing. So, yeah, love that message. I think we are both 100% on board with that. I'd like to know what you've kind of noticed and observed in terms of video content when it comes to different generations or demographics. Have you noticed any varying preferences or behaviors into the way that they are showing up and using video or consuming it?
I mean, my opinion is, it doesn't matter what age or demographic. I mean, you have to kind of go with almost, unfortunately, the social media platforms will drive what kind of content they want. Like, they'll ask for it. Like right now, short form, everyone's asking for short form, the YouTube shorts, the reels, docs, obviously. So if you're not doing that, you're going to get less eyeballs on your content. So you kind of have to, but I highly recommend you kind of go with what the social media platforms want, because that's what's going to give you the most attention. And I think a lot of people are, like, initially TikTok, even myself, like until I think it was about a year and a half ago, I got on TikTok. before that, I was like, no, I don't do any dancing. I'm kind of old school. I don't do TikTok. That's not my thing. And then one day, my buddy of mine says, you just got to get on, right? I'm like, well, we are a repurposing tool. We got to, we got to go with what's going on. And I got on and I actually really enjoyed it. And I kind of learned, I watched a lot. I observed how do people create these short videos, because there's a bit of a skill to it. You have to have a bit of a different way of approaching video creation compared to longer videos. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to do my thing. And yeah, I was horrible. It was, I was trying to do the different camera angles. But like you said, the more I did it, the more I got comfortable with it. But yeah, back to your question. So basically, I think you just have to go with what's going to give you the most eyeballs. Like, we're making content to deliver value, but also to get that value in front of as many people. And if you're not doing what's going to give you the most eyeballs, or at least you're not repurposing parts of it to those platforms, then it's not a waste of time, but you feel like some of the effort is wasted a bit because you're not getting the most exposure out of it.
Yeah, you're missing that opportunity. So, and what I'm hearing, stop making assumptions. So assuming, TikTok's all dancing or it's for younger people, because as you've experienced yourself, you got on there and realized, hey, it's actually really amazing. And I've actually started saving some of my favorite elderly creators to show people and say, it's not all young people. There are people of all walks of life, all ages, all demographics who are on there and using it in that slightly different way. So love that.
When you were talking about video marketing and how you just need to, it's a different way of doing things. So many business owners consider repurposing as something that's too hard and that's too overwhelming to them, which obviously I think it is a different way of doing things, like you said, with video. Is there a mindset that someone should have before creating a repurposing system or strategy?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about, to me, like, if you just focus on creating one piece of content, like, what's the one piece of content that I can put on as many different platforms? That's the simplest way of repurposing. There's more fancy ways to do it. You can take longer videos and chop them up. But at least for now, like, honestly, I think right now, like, in today's time, short form video is really hot and all the platforms want it and accept it. So I always tell people who are just starting, if you just create a video under 60 seconds that's in vertical, like, just hold your phone this way and record, under 60 seconds, you are good on every single platform, from TikTok to Twitter. Right? It's gonna work everywhere. So to LinkedIn and everything in between. So start with that. I mean, that's the simplest way of repurposing, is taking that one video, no changes to it, as it is, post it on all these different platforms. And that's kind of what probably a majority of our users are using Repurpose for. Like, that feature of, you can upload your video to TikTok and have it go from TikTok to all your other platforms automatically. And you can start from TikTok. I say TikTok, that's kind of my go-to, and a lot of our audiences use TikTok as a starting point, but you can start from Instagram Reels, you can start from YouTube Shorts, you can start from different platforms. But stick with your favorite platform, the one that you enjoy going on and commenting and engaging and watching content, because you're creating for that as your primary channel. Like, your content is kind of like, I call it a primary channel, your main channel. So create content for that, upload to there, use the native app to upload, and then use a tool like Repurpose to push it out to all others.
That's 100% what I tell clients when we first start working together. I ask them, what's the playground you like most to hang out on in terms of your social media channels? But then also, what's your favorite way of creating stuff now? And if, usually it's, I'll take a photo or something, but getting them into that mindset of thinking, okay, well, what can an image do and where can you fit it in each of your social channels? And then if you start to map that out, you realize that with video, you can actually put it in many more places than just one. Even on just like Instagram, you've got the feed, you've got reels, you've got stories. Well, and now reels is embedded within the feed, but
Sure.
But then if you want to break it down even further with video, you have images, you have audio, you have text as well, that you can take those and stretch them out into other places. So I think you actually, in fact, answered our next question anyway with what you said, which was we were also wondering, like, where do you start before you jump on to repurpose? And you've recommended exactly kind of what I tell people as well is, well, probably should start with video because that's just in so many more places than it is for any other medium, for sure.
Yes, it gives
I've
you a
got
lot more options.
side question, a little spin-off based on that.
Mhm.
And that is, what is some way that you are seeing people repurposing their content that perhaps we would never have thought to do? Because you mentioned kind of the obvious one, the one that most of us are probably doing either manually or using a tool such as Repurposed.io. So that is taking that vertical video that's under 60 seconds and pushing it out to Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, even Pinterest idea pins, etc. But what's something really cool that you've seen people repurposing that maybe we wouldn't have actually thought to do? I'd love to hear something exciting that maybe people are doing that you've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, we actually do this as well for our channel. Is to take your, well, I guess it could be short or long video, it doesn't matter. Take your whatever content you create and make a Twitter thread. So a Twitter thread, if you're not familiar, it's just kind of almost like you post once and then you can reply to your own thread. You can say, okay, part 1, part 2, or like 5 tips on how to do this, and then they're all linked together. That's why it's called a thread. There's a way to do it from within Twitter, actually. And then you can take that same Twitter thread, post it on Instagram as a carousel. Like, just go into Canva, use the same text, make a nice little drop into a template, and then now you have an image carousel that you can use on Instagram. Then you can use on LinkedIn as well, because LinkedIn, I think you have to convert it to a PDF, but still same content. PDF, upload that. All of a sudden, now you have a image carousel. I don't know if they call it image carousel, but it's the idea of an image carousel on LinkedIn. And then you can do, is it Pinterest? No, you can't do that on Pinterest. Those two. I think it's Instagram, LinkedIn, and then the Twitter thread, all based on content from your main video that you created. So it's almost like turning it into text, summarizing it, and then just picking up, let's say, 4 or 5 key bullet points or 4 or 5 tips, and then turn them into image carousels / Twitter threads.
Oh, I like that one. I would never have thought of the Twitter thread. I have to say, I don't hang out there much anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. But I find I don't know. It's always good to experiment. Like, I see people, whatever's doing well, we try it. I mean, it's not going to work for everybody, but the whole idea of repurposing in general is that you're not coming up with new content. You're just taking the content, getting it transcribed and summarizing it. Now there's, AI and tools will help you summarize it, even help you pick out, your 4 or 5 topics. It'll help you do that. But yeah, the idea is just to go from video, starting with video is it's the most flexible way.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can go to audio, you can go to text, turn them into carousels, Twitter threads, audio podcasts, put them on your hosting platform. So you get them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. There's so many opportunities when you start with video.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't have to do it all now. That's another thing I want to mention. Start simple, make a video for everywhere, and then you can always go back, transcribe it later, repurpose it later, and all of a sudden you have content 3 months later that it's still, you don't have to make it. You already had the original content created. So don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Start with something that's very simple, like just putting that video on all the different platforms. Get that figured out, get a system with yourself, with a tool, with your team, whatever you choose, and then go back to older content and start respinning it into different formats.
For sure. Use the tools and what you've got.
Yeah.
Just another side question. Are there any downsides to repurposing your content from a content performance standpoint? So are these different, because I know probably our listeners may be thinking this, And there's always a lot of misinformation flying around the internet about this, oh, you're going to be penalized if you use an outside app, or you're editing your video in another tool, or whatever that is. Are there any downsides in terms of video performance if you are, for example, taking your TikTok video and repurposing that over onto Instagram Reels, for example?
The things that I heard about are the watermarks, whether you're going TikTok to other platforms or other platforms to TikTok. I've heard the only one that officially says something about a watermark, to be honest, is actually Snapchat. Snapchat spotlights. There's kind of a newish thing on Snapchat that's like the reels and that kind of thing. And they're very picky. They explicitly say there's no watermarks. You can't even take a horizontal video and have these black border. Like, they're very strict and they're very clear about that. The other platforms, I don't know if they officially, I think Instagram has officially made a statement about watermarks.
But Repurpose overcomes that, doesn't it? Because it's
crop,
doesn't it?
That's the reason. We do two things, actually. We grab the version without the watermark, whether it's from YouTube, from Instagram, or from TikTok. And then we also, behind the scenes, we also kind of wipe any like metadata in the video file that actually comes in. I actually said this. People were telling me this. I was like, oh, I don't know if there is. I studied it myself personally. There was some stuff. Some things say Google in the metadata. Some things are just almost like a signature that's like there in the file. So we said, you know what? Let's just figure out a way to wipe it, wipe it all, and then see what happens. And so, yeah, we don't know. I can't say it did help or did not help. It's hard to say, but there was some, I think TikTok and Instagram. No, sorry, TikTok and YouTube would put the little signature in there that we would just remove. Whether it helped or not,
okay.
I don't really know, to be honest.
But I feel like it would help, right? Especially if these platforms are coming out, especially Instagram, because Instagram, TikTok, right? They're at loggerheads with each other. If Instagram is saying, we don't want you sharing obvious TikToks on our platform. And yeah, I love that you're removing the watermark, because that was always a huge pain point for people. How do we get our TikToks off of there without this big watermark? And I don't know about you, but recently you were able to save your TikTok down and have a nice clean copy. That save button seems to have disappeared from my account, so I'm not sure what's going on. So I love that we can bypass this, using this tool. And yeah, just again, why do we want to be recreating the same content when we've already made it on one platform? So and the metadata, I think something's going on in the background, right?
Yeah.
I love that you've already problems or future proofed that, right?
Yeah. And again, it's the people. Like, it's whether it's a theory or there's truth to it. Like, people have asked, we need to look into the metadata. Is there metadata? I mean, we're blessed that we have access to this data. And so, yeah, I mean, there was some, we don't know for sure it helped or not, but there was some. But I think it's important, like, just to know that, like, not your content, don't expect your content to perform the same on every platform. And that's not the point. In my opinion, it's not the point. You're not going to, let's say you get a couple thousand views, 10,000, whatever, on TikTok, and you're constantly getting high number of views. And then you start posting to Instagram all of a sudden, and then you're getting 50, maybe 100 per video. That's okay. It's better than 0 if you didn't post it there. That's one. And then 2, maybe because you haven't been posting consistently on those platforms, it's going to take time for the algorithm to realize, okay, and your followers to start seeing your content. So give it time, but also don't look at it like, oh, it's only getting a couple of hundred here, but TikTok's going to be 10,000. That's great. You're getting 100 here, then 100 on LinkedIn, and then 100 on Twitter, and then the 10,000. It all adds up. And the fact that you're consistently publishing everywhere without really any extra work, or very little extra work, there's no reason not to do it. So yeah, and no one's going to be following you on all your platforms and say, oh, that's the same video that I saw on TikTok. It may happen, and that's okay, but it's not like someone's following you on 7 different platforms, unless they're stalking you, and you got other problems, I guess.
For our listeners who don't know, a metadata description is information, file information that every single digital piece on the internet, on your computer, etc., has. And it pretty much just tells any program what that file is and where it's from, what does it do, that sort of thing. That's all the nerdiness I had. Where do you see video and audio going in the next 1 to 2 years, Hani? And I'm saying 1 to 2 years because we've seen, say, in the last 3 months, just an explosion of advancements with AI, and obviously, namely ChatGPT has been the star of this tsunami of tech that's come through. Where do you see video and audio going?
Yeah, it's some exciting times, because when you combine AI tools, and I don't mean like ChatGPT only, but like just the power of AI combining with the power of video or audio, you start making there's some amazing things that come out. A little bit scary. Some of the video stuff I've seen is a little scary and maybe cool, but I still don't see the functional, like, okay, that's cool, but how is that really going to help my business grow as a business owner? But there's tools that are going to really help, especially in repurpose, going to help really like do things that weren't easily done unless you had a whole team of AI experts to do it, and looking to integrate a lot of these features to make things easier for the creator. And one example, just one idea we had, and again, I'm not saying this is going to come out or this will happen, but something we're looking at that now possible with AI is there's this issue with music on some platforms. So you have a song, you pick a song, a trending song on TikTok, you take the video to YouTube, and they're like, oh, that's a copyrighted song, you can't use that. So there's some AI tools that will let you remove the music without removing your voice. So they almost like study your audio. And so we're like, a very beneficial feature here would be to strip out the music from TikTok before we upload it to YouTube. And then maybe even in the future, replace that with a different song for you. So that's just like one kind of an example of how AI tied with a tool like Repurpose, or just with your content creation process, can really solve a really hard problem to solve without AI.
That's a feature I think that's been asked to Repurpose for a while now, is to extract the audio or to remove the audio without your voice so that you can follow community guidelines on other channels.
Yeah. We're looking at that. First, I'm like, well, that's not possible. And then I'm looking, wait a second. There are like some AI tools that like model the different instruments and music. It's really fascinating. Like, I mean, I'm not a big geek on AI in terms of how it works, but I am a geek in terms of how it can help us solve problems to help the creators do things more efficiently.
How do you keep up with like new AI platforms and such that are coming? Because I mean, like I can't keep them straight at this point. Is there one source that you really like to go to find these out?
No, I'll be honest with you. I look at it on like, what problem do we have? What problem are our customers trying to solve? Like, let's say it's the music problem. Okay, is there a solution out there? And I start researching then. So it's not, when I'm scrolling, I see all kinds of cool tools that can turn you into a character and do a whole video without you even having to like be on camera. Like they take your picture and make a whole character. That's all fascinating. And I'm like, okay, maybe one day we'll look into that. But for me, it's all about like, whenever we're trying to solve a problem, like, or add a feature in a tool that's been requested, what's the best way of doing it? And is there ways to automate or bring in some AI to help solve that problem? So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's every day is a new tool that does something actually really cool. But
there was a creator on TikTok who had put together a directory of AI tools.
Yes, yeah.
And there were like 1,000 tools that she had pulled together. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's even more of those. Like, and a lot of them, as we had an interview with Dennis Yu about ChatGPT, and he was saying there's all these ones that sit sort of just above it that are using that GPT software. I'm not using the right term now, technology, I should say, and then kind of using that to then create all these other versions of AI tools, and it's just exponential the growth in this because of this. So yeah, it is really hard, I think, to keep a handle on it and to know which tools are actually going to be beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, we've already added some AI into Repurpose. Like we have a feature where you can take your title, your caption, and then hit a button, and it will respin it. We use the OpenAI engine API, like the OpenAI technology in there, and that's just kind of our first foot in the door with AI. But I see the next couple of years. Back to your question, it's going to be we're going to do a lot of things that we thought would be pretty hard to do, and it's still going to be hard, but it's more doable now. Like, for example, like translations of different languages is going to be a huge thing. And I think a lot of creators now, especially big creators who are, maybe really popular in one country, and then they want to expand, get all their videos automatically transcribed and, voice dubbed over into a whole different language, all automatically, and posted to a whole new TikTok channel and a whole new YouTube channel. They can automate all that. I mean, they can't do it now, but as we can see them using a tool like Repurpose, and we add some translation features and voice dubbing features so that you can start 3 or 4 new channels in 3 or 4 different languages, and all your videos will get automatically transcribed and dubbed over and dripped out 1 per day to different channels. Like there's so much, the wheels are really turning up here. Yeah. To me, it's a very exciting time, honestly, with the AI. It makes things so much easier for us to do what creators want without having to build from scratch.
That's fascinating that you're saying about that almost like auto translate. I can see how many challenges that could have, because, for example, like one colloquialism that one country has might not translate very well in another country, or even say, there's some languages that might have like more than 5 tenses. Like the French language, I think, has 7 or 10. So it's like, how do you take that one sentence that, say, for example, in English, and translate it appropriately to say the exact same meaning? It's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to see how that comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty is for us is we don't really have to solve that problem. We just connect to a service that solves that problem, but we tie that into, our platform to help make the audio, maybe even voice dubbed over in their own voice, maybe. Like there's so many possibilities, but also get that out to a whole brand new channel. Your Spanish channel, and then maybe your French channel, like a whole different YouTube channel. I think even now YouTube lets you upload multiple subtitles in different languages. But it's only one example, but my thoughts are like video and AI just kind of go hand in hand, and not even video, just content in general, and AI tools allow us to do so many cool things.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's so exciting. So what are we gonna see come out of Repurpose this year? Like you've already mentioned some things, but are there new platforms that we're gonna see as sources and destinations, like say Clapper?
Yeah, so we just, let's just go back a month or so. We just launched about a month ago, launched Snapchat, which was a pretty big request, actually. Snapchat spotlights. So that was a big one. And we were talking with Snapchat. The beauty of these working in this industry is we got to meet and become partners with all these social media platforms, and they're actually really cool people. I mean, we would think like, why are all these people doing it? But the groups that we get to meet with, the teams that develop the interface to allow third parties to do things, are actually really cool and fun to geek out with too. And it's great. But I guess what I'm trying to say is we're actually one of the few, maybe only, or I got the impression we were maybe the only people who ever integrated the Snapchat API interface with Snapchat. And then they got on a call with us and like, oh, hi, what's your experience? Tell us more. So yeah, anyway, Snapchat was awesome. We just released Instagram stories. So now you can publish the stories directly, which is really cool. Another relatively big feature. Pinterest idea pins, I call it, because the Pinterest, I don't know if you've heard, has merged all. They were confusing the heck out of everybody. Versus the video pin, and it's just like, no, now everything is this thing called the video pin. Going, I think as of last week or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they opened up to the developers. So meaning like tools like Repurpose can now have the option to publish it as this new video pin, which is to me equal to an idea pin. So yeah, added that. Yeah, and the platforms expand and they give more features. Like TikTok, we've released 10-minute videos now for interfaces, so we automatically get that. So besides other integrations, we're working on kind of revamping the look and feel of Repurpose. I mean, it is about 6 years old, so it's I say limited. The technology is limited on what you can do on the user interface. So we're completely changing that and hoping to launch something this year that lets you do a lot more. You can edit videos, you can automatically transcribe videos, and you can upload videos and have like apply templates, like just things kind of bringing in more tools for the creators. Again, I had no timeline for this. I'm hoping this year, I'm pushing for this year. I'm sure we'll get a beta at least this year. But the goal is Repurpose is going to be your hub for content.
It's going to be the Henry Cavill.
It's going to be when you create content, it's going to help you. You're going to build tools to help you create. Maybe scripting. I don't know, like things in the creation, help you create content, help you edit content, help you publish and distribute content, and then help you get analytics about your content as well. So we're looking to be the full suite of tools. That was never, going back to initial conversation, when you have a vision and sometimes you just have to listen to what people want. I've never had the vision of being a full suite. It was always about the repurposing piece. But more and more we're hearing like, I want to go into one place, do everything, edit my videos. If I have to do a little bit edits, put the bird nice captions on them, all the way from like maybe even like scripting a bit, like helping you give me ideas, research, scripting, all the way to post-production and distributing and the analytics as well. And of course, all along the way, AI will be tied in, like some kind of AI feature. I mean, AI is just a buzzword now, but the reality is help you automate a lot of these steps just so that you, the user, can be more efficient and do it quickly and even automate. We're all about the automation. So the more we can automate for you, the better.
Well, it sounds like you are putting Henry Cavill into a Superman suit for the next stage of Repurpose.io.
We're really excited. The monsters are coming. The way it looks now, I'm like, oh, we can do this. So yeah, everybody's excited about what's coming, and I know it takes time, so I have to be patient. But we are going to roll out something so that you can start playing with it and giving us feedback. Because, like you said earlier, we rely heavily on feedback, and we appreciate all the feedback.
It's so fantastic.
I'm so excited. And I think Clem and I have discovered in our process of creating this podcast, we're relatively new to podcasting, we keep finding tools that can do part of the job, but not the whole job. And I think that's the frustration. So I like that you're thinking of that end-to-end solution for people, because, otherwise you're paying for this tool, then paying for that tool, downloading here, uploading here. It's just a lot of work and a lot of mental energy, or brain calories, as I like to call them, that we don't need to be using, right? We've got enough things to worry about. So, I really like that that's where Repurpose is heading, and I can't wait to see all these new features. We've got a few little quick fire questions for you just to wrap things up today. Starting off with your top tip for parents in business, what would that be?
In business in general?
In business in general, or running a business, or business and parenting?
But I think you just got to take action quickly. Put stuff out there. That's something I took to heart when I started Repurpose and all the other tools. And whatever business you're in, don't wait until you've built this thing or designed this course or this coaching program, whatever it is. Don't wait till it's done. I know you've probably heard this before, but it's true. Like as an example, I sold licenses of Repurpose before it was built 6 years ago. I just said, hey, we have this tool, here's a demo, and people were willing to kind of put money on me. Okay, then maybe it's worth finishing this project. So put stuff out quickly. Back to your question. I know it's a quick fire. I don't want to ramble too much, but yeah, put stuff out and get feedback, and don't be afraid to pivot as you go.
Hani, who are you loving on TikTok at the moment? Because now that you've been on there, you've settled in. Who are your favorite creators that you will watch their videos every single time?
I mean, right, the first, like when I just close my eyes, the first person that comes to mind that I can relate to is Todd Collins. I think you interview him on your show. Like,
yes. He said Todd said if I asked you to come on the podcast and you said no, to tell him because he would force you to.
Oh, yeah.
That he
I wouldn't like to know. No, we've had it a few times. I don't know it. I feel like I know him. Like that's what social media, right? I just love his energy. Like he's just passionate, and he's just a cool guy. I don't know how to say it. He's a cool guy. Like he's just a really cool guy, a really nice guy when you chat with him, and he's very supportive of Repurpose, of course. But that's not why I follow him. He's just I don't know. Some people, you just watch their content and you learn something, but also you're driven. Like you're just their energy. You feel their energy, and you connect with that energy.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, when I first stumbled across Todd on my TikTok, I think what I thought was he seems like he always has time to help someone. Like is someone with a question, if someone random stopped him on the side of the street, he would take the 5 minutes to help them out and answer whatever their question was. Whereas there's some creators, it's like, you need to stop doing this. Whereas him, it's like you almost felt like you were talking to him on FaceTime.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and he's very like, he's got, big following, tons of content and comments, but yeah, he's there. Like he's engaging with all of it. So I think it's great.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite social media channel to play around on?
Posting or just scrolling?
I guess which one? If you have like 5 minutes and you're like, I need to kill some time, you hop straight onto it without even thinking.
Yeah, well, actually, the only one I have on my phone right now is TikTok. I removed all the other platforms. I go on the web browser and I log in randomly on my computer randomly, but TikTok is the only one where I still have the app, and it does such a good job of giving me the content that I watch. It's the only one. That the other ones I've done, they're okay, but TikTok always gives me stuff it knows me more than I know myself in terms of what I like to watch. So, yeah, TikTok.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that too. For consumption, I love TikTok, my own personal, like that. I get on there and just, get right in there. That's my happy place. For business, Instagram's still my favorite place for growing my business. Would love to know, final question for you. Other than the Mad Marketing Mums podcast, what is one podcast that you cannot get enough of, that's the first one you'll go to each week? You're waiting for their new episodes to drop.
Yeah. Well, I think this one is very suitable for me and kind of creating software. I'm in a software space. It's called Startups for the Rest of Us. It's mostly about software, but they've interviewed other people who are created courses and all kinds of stuff, but mostly on a software level. But I just enjoy that. I remember one week they had technical issues and they didn't they post every Tuesday. They didn't come out, and I'm like, guys, I'm tweeting like, guys, what's going on? Where's the episode? I got so hooked. This is like when I was built like way back. Now I'm less of a listener. I still listen when I go for a walk, etc. But every Tuesday I was addicted to that podcast. It was just so great conversation, great guests, and it was about the topic of starting startups, especially in this software. So very applicable to me. It was, motivating me. I was like, oh, okay, this guy can do it, or this girl can do it. She's launched this and he launched that. I'm like, they tried this tactic. So I go back and then, learn something and try, a lot more than I do now, but that was my favorite podcast. It still is actually my first one I go to whenever, if I'm flying somewhere or walking. It's like, let's see what's new on here.
I'm going to have to download that one. That sounds like a good one for me.
Yeah. Look, and we'll link to that obviously in the show notes. So if you are interested, you can go and check it out. And have they invited you to be a guest on the podcast now, Hani?
They haven't yet, actually.
Oh, hint, hint.
I did leave a
Yeah, I
review
think
for
it's
them. They gave me a shout out once on the episode. I was like, oh, I don't know. I get excited. Everybody gets excited when they hear their name. When you don't even expect it, right? I'm listening to podcasts. I'm like, oh, my name came up. Oh, hey, that's cool. Because I left a review. But yeah, actually, it would be cool to go on that show. Let's see.
Well,
Rob
I
was.
there you
think
go. If whoever the
there's your
creator
pitch
is
there.
listening. There's the pitch.
As endorsed by the Mad Marketing Moms, get Hani Mourra and Repurpose.io on your podcast. Yeah. Well, Hani, it's been an absolute pleasure, even with our technical difficulties over here. And I do understand it's actually quite late for you out in Toronto. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will let you go. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's really been an honor to speak to you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And it's great to meet both of you.